Welcome to all my Northern Housing Consortium colleagues. I've been asked to give you a quick resume of why we've gone down the route of flexible working and how it's not something that you need to fear, but indeed it's something that you will never go back on. So my name is Nick Atkin, I'm Chief Executive at Holton Housing Trust. I'm also a Northern Housing Consortium board member, which is how I've been roped into producing this quick fire video. So what you're going to see today is all based on this. As you can see, we don't have notice boards, we have magic whiteboard. Quickly put ideas together on any surface. This is just a simple cabinet, and photograph it, and then that gets binned or reused. So loads of reasons why flexible working is really important for Holton Housing Trust, but I suppose there's three main themes to it. A theme around value for money and efficiency, a theme around absolutely reflecting the culture of our organisation, and also finally around increasing productivity. So I'll take each of those in turn, but in no particular order. So I suppose for the business, the key thing is, if you look at something like this, an empty desk, how much is each one of these costing in your business? For us, each one of these is costing about £2,600, but when you actually look at how often it's used, this desk, like every other desk in here, is used on average for just 3 hours per day of an average, in an average day. So as you can see, that's not great value for money. So what you could actually need to do is to have less desk spaces, less floor space, and make your office a place where people come to collaborate and spend quality time together, rather than feeling that they're in some 19th century workhouse where they've had to sort of just turn up and be there. So in terms of the work-life balance, just while I'm on that, I think flexible working offers you as an employee fantastic work-life balance opportunities. Most people grumble and moan about how hard it is for them to absolutely balance everything up. So if you've got carer responsibilities, whether they're like me, you've got aging parents, or indeed like me, also got kids, fantastic opportunity to adapt to that. But it's also important because it enables you to focus. So if you look at this office here, average day, we've got group of people working here. Joe is surprisingly quiet today. Do you want to give us a quick wave, Joe? Joe's normally got verbal diarrhea, but for the purposes of today, I think she's just been quiet for a while. But if you're having to produce a board report, or if you're having to focus on something really significant, that can be difficult in an open plan environment. And so flexible working gives you the opportunity to plan and do things in a more focused way in an environment where you can concentrate. That might be at home, that might be in a focus room, it might be somewhere else. So for us as an organisation, not only is the work-life balance element, but reducing the number of desks has saved us real money, not the smoke and mirrors that most people do on efficiencies. We've saved year on year £125,000, and with the move to our new office next year, those savings will add to those savings, so we'll actually save even more from flexible working. So that's work-life balance and carers, that's the cost, that's the savings. I think in terms of the other thing that I'd say about flexible working is that outside your work life, you don't deal with any provider who only offers a service on a 9-to-5 basis. You don't shop on a 9-to-5 basis, you don't contact service providers on a 9-to-5 basis. But housing, for some strange reason, still runs on a 9-to-5 mentality. What flexible working does, and flexible working space, means that you can absolutely make a better service offer to your customers and also to you as employees. You no longer have to be chained to a desk between the hours of 9 to 5 because nobody expects that anymore. But also, we are human beings. Some people are night owls, so I have some people in our business who I don't bother talking to until after midday because they don't function properly until then. Or some like myself and a few others around and about who are more early birds. So I'm only doing this now because I'm not functioning particularly well, because I've done all my quality work first thing this morning. So I'm downhill from here on in. So again, it's about actually making the most of your staff, making the most of how they naturally operate and function. One thing that is close to my heart is I hate paper. I hate those things called printers that we've got over there. So as you can see, we don't have desk-based printers, we just have one printer in the office, and it's located in a place that's not particularly convenient, but also is a walk of shame to get there to do anything on it, both there and back. We also have the printers linked to our card, so that it doesn't print until you actually scan your card on there, and the print cues are deleted at the end of each day as well. So what it does enable you to do is use less paper rather than to completely eradicate paper, and again that's a big saving. So we now spend 42% less on printing and paper than we did 18 months ago. And if you want a really top tip to drive behaviour change, get your admin team to run out of paper in your office for about 3 days. People really do then find an alternative way to sort out their printing needs. So flexible working for me is the martini of the workplace. It's the fact that you can work anytime, any place and anywhere. Now some people at the consortium won't be of an age to remember the martini advert, some of you will. For those of you who don't know what martini is, it's a really crap drink that you generally put lots of other things into because it tastes bloody awful. But it does enable your staff, and you sort of might look, you've seen the pan around from the office. You know, there's a lot of staff that today are in Starbucks, in Costa, or indeed are working at our schemes, because that is a place where they're near to, they can drop into, and we actively encourage that. So you go to Starbucks up the road, and there are probably more trust staff in there than there are in the office at the moment. And that links to another point really around just why do people still come into an office? Why do people feel that they need to be there? Very often it's because their managers and the way they're managed is based upon presenteeism. So you can have somebody who's sat in an office for 8 hours a day, but is absolutely doing bugger all in terms of useful outcomes for the business. And what this is about is absolutely getting rid of that whole presenteeism mindset and saying what's really important is what you deliver in terms of your objectives against the targets that you've set. And one of the things that really benefits people is just how much time you can save in terms of commuting. You think about how long you spend commuting to work and then back from work every day. Certainly when we did this, a very short piece of work here at the Trust, the average time was about 45 minutes. So if you think that's an hour and a half each day that people spend commuting to work in terms of the cost and the time of that, which if you could give them that back and say, well actually we prefer you to do some quality work or do something else during that time, what a fantastic saving that is. And if you multiply that up, even with my basic maths, that's 7.5 hours a week. So that's a day a week that people spend commuting rather than doing anything of practical use or benefit to the business. And I think in terms of how we work, as you can see, we have a clear desk policy. So we expect people to basically clear a desk off, and everybody hot desks in the business. So nobody has an office, everybody hot desks. And what that does enable and generate is some cross-team working. So you get to spend some time with people that you'd never normally spend time with, and you also get to spend some time with people that you probably don't want to spend some time with as well, but at least then you can find an excuse to move, particularly if they've got some dodgy aftershave or perfume on. Isn't that right, Dave? And then the other sort of thing around this is around, it's actually about taking the service out to customers. So I mentioned before that some of our staff today are based at some of our schemes and are working out of Starbucks and Costa, and that's because they might be in between appointments, dropping in to do some work before they're moving on. But it does mean we're able to offer a service to our customers which isn't based on a 9 to 5 system. It learns from some of the work that we've done on our commercial subsid, which does market rent, where people are working Saturdays, Friday nights, doing viewings at times that are convenient for people. And likewise, we've been able to start spread that across the business. So we don't have core hours anymore. What's more important is around what hours do you need to work to deliver the objectives that we've agreed with you. So it's about taking the service out to customers. It's not about having to be in work to be in work, and work is something you do, not somewhere you go. One of the things that underpins that, and it's in our name, is around trust. So if you have a manager who doesn't trust the staff that they have working with them, this will never work. What you've got to do is to work on the basis that 99.9% of people come to work to do a good job. They don't come to work to skive and to do as little as possible. And what we found with flexible working is that very quickly those small number of people who do abuse the system rise to the very top, and then we deal with them in a very, very forthright way, because basically they've breached the trust that we've played in them. Most organisations treat people as children rather than as adults. Nearly there. So, some of the other things that we found in terms of benefits, less email. I hate email. I think it's a scourge of the modern workplace. And what this has enabled us to do is to find alternative routes and ways of having those conversations, shifting away from a reliance on email to more things around Skype, virtual meetings, as well as when people do come together in a face-to-face way, that's a quality time together rather than just another meeting with the same old faces. But what we have also been able to do is to use alternative methods of sharing information through things like Yammer and Skype. One of the other big software things, and definitely the improvement that I'd encourage you to move towards, is Office 365. I think this has really taken our flexible working approach to a whole new level, enabled us to share documents, work collaboratively on documents, but also literally you can work anywhere on any device, leave the office or leave Starbucks or leave home, having got to a point on working on a document, go somewhere else and pick it up and start from exactly the point you've left off. So if you do nothing else, invest in Office 365. To enable that to happen, you need a really fab Wi-Fi system, which we have here, but also a good IT infrastructure. And again, we'd be happy to talk to you about how we could help you support or develop that. And then I suppose looking at this sheet, the final thing I'd say is 2 devices. So everybody in the organisation is moving towards a 2-device policy, again linked to Office 365 and the flexibility. And this is about working out what does somebody need to do for the job that they do. So if I quickly take you over to see Jo, Jo here is on her 2 devices. She's got an iPad with fold-out keyboard. Sorry, Jo.
That's okay.
But when she's in the office, the iPad plugs into basically an adapter that goes to a screen so that Jo's able to deal with it. She does do several calendars and complex issues. And then also she's got her work phone as well, and that's Jo's 2 devices. So everybody in the business has had their role assessed. So if I take you through to Carol, who's our Director of ICT, and if Kate's being filmed, which is why I'm doing this, Carol's needs have been assessed as needing iPad Pro, as you can see here, together with an iPhone. So again, it's about understanding what it is that the individual needs to do the job. It's not about status, it's not about role, it's about what does that role need to fulfill what we're asking them to do, and then we provide the kit. So rather than spend money on desks that aren't occupied, we spend money on quality kit that enables people to work completely flexibly. So that's our quick whistle-stop tour through flexible working. I'm now off to do a walk-in PDR meeting, catch up with Carol. So we're going to have a couple of miles trot round whilst we're talking, and whilst we're using some of the stuff that I've talked about to catch up on Carol's progress against the PDR. Hope you found that useful. If you did, my name's Nick Atkin. If you didn't, my name's Charlotte Harrison. Thank you very much.